Cause I don't know how fake feel, nigga. Cause all my life I've been a real nigga.
What's good with y'all? It's Face the Real. Y'all know what it is. And it may sound like it, but there's no malice in my intent. That's real. You see the title. Eminem is my favorite rapper. It has been since 2001. My original favorite rapper was Jay-Z, but I was too young and not in an environment that played a lot of rap music growing up. I was raised by my grandparents, and they mainly played blues artists. My mother was a huge Pac fan, but I heard Jay-Z through her first husband and really dug the music. I never listened to his albums and only heard singles and a stray track here and there, but I enjoyed it, and he became my favorite rapper by default. Since I was mainly a gamer in my childhood, I didn't really get into hip-hop until 2001. This was the year I began listening to full CDs and truly vibing out to it all. My first albums I ever heard were Donnell Jones' Life Goes On and the 8 Mile soundtrack. The 8 Mile soundtrack banged from start to finish, and it got me hooked onto hip-hop. I started watching music videos casually, and I listened to those albums without skipping a track for months. Eminem would come out with the movie 8 Mile on DVD, and for some reason I never knew that he was a white guy. I knew absolutely nothing about the 8 Mile movie as well, so I was going into it completely blind. I also had no idea that white rappers were even a thing, so I was puzzled when I saw a white guy jogging in place in the bathroom, and then caught up to the stage to rap. Don't get me wrong, I have or had no prejudice to white rappers or other races making hip-hop music. It was just a surprise to me that this dope lyricist I was hearing was white in a black art form. You see, somebody burned me the 8 Mile soundtrack at my school, so I did not have the artwork to go to the album. During one of his verses, he says he's B-Rabbit, and every time I heard that voice, I was always impressed. Now that I think about it, I only recognize Jay's voice on 8 Miles and Running with Freeway, and the other rappers were just dope rappers, but now on the same level as B-Rabbit. Also, come to think of it even more, I probably had no idea that B-Rabbit's name in the real world was Marshall Mathers, with his stage name being Eminem. I was completely in the dark. Due to 8 Mile growing to be one of my favorite movies of the 2000s, I wanted more battle rap. So, in a way, Eminem indirectly made me a fan of what today ended up being my favorite subsector of hip-hop. I broke it down further in my Battle Rap Mount Rushmore video, so if you're interested in that, check it out. The link will be in the description. Around this time, my mind was blown that B-Rapper was actually a prolific artist named Eminem, and he had 2 previous albums that I missed. I listened to Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP and loved the albums. I will find out shortly after that he released his 3rd album, The Eminem Show, that year, and it became my favorite hip-hop album ever. I love this tape from front to back, and I still do to this day. I was enjoying his music so much that I started to look at the artists on his label. 50 Cent blew up around this time, and I listened to his debut album, and it also became one of my favorite albums of all time. Now, although I loved 50 Cent's album, I noticed that technically Eminem was on a whole different level lyrically. A light switch flipped in my mind, and I was wondering if Eminem was better lyrically than every other black rapper out. After all, the beat was secondary to me, and I was falling in love with the more technical aspect of rap. Thanks to Eminem, I went back and listened to all the greats from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s to see if anybody was technically better than this white guy, since, as I said earlier, rap is a black art form. I listened to Jay first, and although I loved his discography a lot, I gave the nod to Eminem lyrically. Nas was next, and he was on par with Eminem lyrically, albeit just delivered in a more poetic fashion. I listened to everybody from Rakim to Tupac to Big L to Big Pun until I listened to dang that everybody I could think of from that era that had a reputation of being great, until it came back full circle to the G-Unit album that fall of 2003. Eminem was head and shoulders over a majority of them lyrically, and I was shocked. Literally, the only 2 rappers that were still alive that could hold a candle to him were Nas and Andre 3 Stacks. The rest were very good, but not as good as Eminem in my opinion. Now, I'm speaking on the technical aspect and not the music part, since I understand that that's subjective. So bear with me, it's just my opinion. At this point, this experience further solidified Eminem as my favorite rapper, since because he was so incredible to me back then as a white rapper, it forced me to check out the other greats from his era and before. Now that I broke down how Eminem became my favorite rapper, I guess I can briefly break down what I think about his albums. I plan on making a video going into detail when I rank them later on in the future, so this will be brief. I enjoyed Infinite, but this is my least listened to album by him. I don't remember much about it because I listened to it a few times in the mid-2000s after finding out about it and just moved on. I love the Slim Shady LP, but to me the album did not age well, mainly due to the production. I argue with myself whether it's a classic or not, and a huge part of me believe that it isn't. Marshall Mathers LP is a classic album, and I can see why people think it's his best body of work, as it has no skips. He got personal on the album, had decent features, and the production went well with not only his voice, but also with the time as well. It's aged very well in my opinion. Eminem Show is my favorite body of work, and my favorite hip-hop album of all time. Is basically flawless to me from start to finish. Encore is one of his worst albums as a whole, but it has classic songs on there, easily in its bottom 3 when it comes to bodies of work. Relapse is a terrible album to me. Lyrically it's amazing, it has several tracks I love to this day. However, I have a rule. If your album is 20 plus tracks and I like less than 7 songs off the album, then it's trash by default. Recovery is a classic in my opinion because this was a Marshall Mathers album. He has some deep, heartfelt moments on here, and he had a lot of witty punchlines and bars. It's one of his best albums. Marshall Mathers LP2 is the album that I come back to the least. I have no idea why, because I really enjoyed it at the time. But every time I look at the track list, I think to myself, I'm good most of the time. Revival is a horrible, terrible album. His worst album easily. Kill It with Fire and Brimstone. I really like Kamikaze. It was a bit on the shorter side, but aggressive and angry Eminem is also my favorite side of Eminem, and that's what this album was. It only had like 2 skips. Music to Be Murdered By was good because it was like a modern Eminem / Slim Shady coming together. I really liked the album, but I admit I didn't love it. Still a solid project. Side B was kinda I liked a lot of songs on there, but I only love like one of them that I still play to this day. So yeah, I can completely see why his music isn't everybody's cup of tea due to its subject matter, production, and some of the features, but he makes up for it in my opinion with amazing technical skill, solid punchlines across his discography, and some great songs in the mix as well. Speaking of his skill and subject matter real quick, his skill amazes me because whether you enjoy what he says or not, he wrote it. He has had a lot of people work with him over the years, and they have all said that he writes his own bars and flows, so I greatly respect that, since a lot of rappers tend to have some kind of help. I also think him being a great freestyle rapper at the same time impresses me a lot, since if you had tried to freestyle yourself, you know that it's extremely difficult to do. I admit that I cannot freestyle off the top of my head and spit 16 bars without stopping. However, when I made music, I was able to punch in my songs when my mind was moving too quickly for me to write the lyrics down. When it comes to his subject matter, I enjoyed his funny songs, but his serious songs hit hard for me. He's also great at storytelling and the ability to paint clear pictures for his listener, even if you don't particularly care for the song, is dope. His diss records are consistently solid, unhinged, and scathing no matter his targets, and he is able to touch on human emotions such as love, heartbreak, anger, depression, in a way that makes you feel the same way as well. He has also said some stuff that threw me completely off, wowed me, or flat out made me tear up in certain points in my life because of what was being shared. What also makes Eminem my favorite rapper is his overall respect for the black culture. Say what you want about Eminem, but he clearly loves hip-hop and black culture. He came up in an urban environment and he brought his friends, the Dirty Dozen aka D12, with him. There was an interview a while back where Bizarre explained how Eminem called him from Cali and flew him out for a better life and gave him a music career.
I was doing motherfucking security at this little hospital in Box Springs. I don't even remember the name of this shit. So I'm making my round and shit, and she called me on the walkie-talkie like, Mr. Johnson, you have a call in the guard shack. I'm like, don't nobody call me at work. You know? So I get back to the guard shack. I get on the phone. I'm like, hello? He was like, it's Bizarre there. I'm like, who is this? He's like, what up, man? This Marshall. I'm like, what's up, man? He was like, bro, I'm in LA, man. I was like, what's going on in LA? He's like, man, Dr. Dre just signed me. I was like, what? He was like, dog, I just got signed at Dr. Dre. He was like, bro, I'm sending for you, bro. I'm sending for your plane ticket. In a couple days, man, you gotta come out here. So I hung up the phone. I told my supervisor I quit. I told her I quit, man. She was like, damn. I was like, yeah, I'm about to be a rapper.
Back in 2022, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, where he showed love to a lot of different artists that were pioneers in hip-hop. Some of them, even I had completely forgot about.
These were my teachers right here. I'm gonna start with the 2 Live crew. Tupac, third base. Alliance, Apache, Audio 2, Big Daddy Kane, Big Pun, Big L, Brand Nubian, Brother J from X Clan.
He also shows the utmost respect for Dr. Dre and credits him into saving his life.
The man who saved my life, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Motherfucking Dre.
For those that don't know, Eminem allegedly had a horrible childhood, and after he dropped out of high school, he struggled badly financially. He put everything he had into rap, but still lost in the 97 Rap Olympics. Feeling discouraged, he goes back to Detroit somewhat defeated, but he ended up getting a call from Dre, and the rest is history. How bad did he struggle financially? Well, allegedly barely being able to afford diapers and formula for his daughter, not being able to get her anything for Christmas with his own money, while at the same time living on the bad side of Detroit where burglaries were common. Dr. Dre took him out of that bad environment at the cost of his soul.
I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back. I just want to leave this game with level head intact.
And even though it had its downsides throughout his life, since then he is still thankful. He also brought us 50 Cent, who was in my top 3 favorite rappers of the 2000s, and he always treated him as a friend more than someone he's doing business with. They both share the same sentiment publicly, and ever since 2003 they have worked together on numerous songs. Honestly, I think they have great chemistry and can't think of a bad Eminem and 50 Cent song, but I digress. Since he battle rapped before the fame, it has always had a very aggressive rap style and delivery. He usually has had very great diss tracks, from Go to Sleep with DMX to Nail in the Coffin aimed at Benzino, to The Warning aimed at Mariah Carey, all the way down to Kill Shot aimed at MGK. They are always solid and sometimes a bit funny depending on the beef itself. I know, the hip-hop community has him losing against Mariah Carey ironically, but her angle was just too good for dang near anyone to beat, to be fair. Speaking of singers, Eminem is criticized often for not beefing with real lyricists within the hip-hop community, but to be fair, a lot of them give him a lot of respect and probably flat out didn't want to beef with him for a variety of reasons. My thing with Eminem not having a lot of battles against rap artists is because most rappers are black. If he just kept having problems with black rappers over and over again, all it takes is one bad headline taking a bar out of context and it could complicate his reputation. Also, there will always be that one jackass talking about why is Eminem always beefing with somebody black, to open up a can of worms. So, it was probably in his best interest to not engage in lyrical beef unless they swung first towards self-defense. He does have subtle shots like his honky bar on Despicable Freestyle responding to Rick Ross, all the way down to the only reason you're played in the club is because you still performing them, bar to the game. He doesn't bother to go that route, so I do get it, and it does make it disappointing for me as well, since Eminem is a great lyricist. It would have been fun to see him beef with maybe somebody like Lupe or Cassidy. Hell, Cassidy versus Eminem is my dream battle in battle rap, but on wax, I would rather it be Lupe, my opinion. Speaking of battling, the big reason why Eminem is my favorite rapper is him consistently outshining other rappers in a feature. I'm not saying that he outshined everybody every single time, because I can think of several songs where somebody got over. But out of all the features he's done from the time he signed with Dre all the way to now, he has probably outshined every rapper or a rapper on his or her own song probably a good 85% of the time. But yeah, I think I got everything. That's why he's been my favorite rapper for over 20 years at this point. As you can see, I don't think everything he has dropped is gold, but I genuinely enjoy his music, whether it's old or new M. I really cannot stand when people act like everything after Encore was garbage, because I do not feel that way at all. If you feel that way, that's fine, but explain to me why you feel that way below respectfully. I also cannot stand the other side of the spectrum, the people that act like he has never dropped a bad album. Those same people will hype up Relapse and say it's a classic. Those same people would say stuff like, you know what, Revival wasn't all that bad. If you believe that, please comment down below and explain to me why respectfully. Also, what do the rest of you think about Eminem? Do you consider him a GOAT in the rap game? Do you like his music or enjoyed his music in the past? Would you ever want to see him return to battle rap on stage and battle somebody? Do you feel he's overrated or he gets just the right amount of praises? That's about all I have to say today. Much love, everybody. Face signing out.